Hello guys and welcome back. Nice new backdrop for you. I'm just tucked in the corner. It's nothing special. I just thought it was more appropriate. I think I'm gonna get like a 1M wall mural put up there or something, some artwork, something nice. I think add a little bit of color to the backdrop. But today's video, a lot of people always talk about, men always discuss what's better in a woman. A beautiful face or a nice body. And that people always do the trade-off. What would you rather? A woman with the best body in the world and an ugly face, or a woman with the best face in the world and a normal body, or a terrible body? And it splits people. Me personally, I think I'd rather have a woman with an average to ugly face and a fantastic body. I think it's just more fun, right? A face just gets boring. I think a body, there's so much more you can do with it. So to put that question in a male sense, so which is better for men? Because I don't think this gets brought up a lot for men. So which is better? Having an unbelievable face as a man, looking like a Mariano De Veo, or a Nick Bateman, or a John Cortegena with the kind of hollow cheek look? Or is it better to have like Vin Diesel's face, but with Vin Diesel's body? Which type of guy would you rather be? And this is the Versus series, so I'm going to compare the two. Now, obviously, the easy answer is both. And I always teach you guys this. What would you rather be, successful or happy? It's like both. Just take both. What would you rather, to be rich or have a beautiful girlfriend? Both. Just take everything. But in terms of comparing them, I think it's quite enjoyable to do. And the reason why is that I would say 85-90% of men are not attractive in the face. I think that's probably fair to say. And by not attractive, I'm not saying like a 2 out of 10 or whatever. I'm saying probably below a 7, probably 6 and below probably makes up something like 85% of the world's population, which is completely normal. And for guys like me, for whoever's watching this, we don't, like I said, don't look like Nick Bateman. We make the best of what we got. Now, one way we do this is by getting in shape. And the gyms are closed right now for a lot of people, and it's been a massive pain in the ass. But once they're back open, I've said this to you guys a million times before. Anybody can have the perfect body. The perfect face is harder. It takes orthotropics. If you guys don't know what orthotropics is, then I'll leave the video at the end for those of you who don't. Those of you who do, you know that when I interviewed Dr. Mike Mew, he said around about 40% of your looks are not genetic, so they can be changed via environmental factors. For example, being on your phone all day like that, it's going to give you a softer jaw. Whereas if you're chewing strong, solid foods, you sat up straight all day, you've got great posture, you're lifting weights, you're going to have a more symmetrical body. It's just the way it goes. And there's so many more components to that too. But for the average person, a 40% increase on being a 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10 is good, but you might never reach the heights of a David Gandy, one of the best looking guys who have ever lived. You just might not ever look like him no matter what you do. Even on his worst day, if he put on 20 kilograms of fat, he'd probably still look okay. He'd probably still be a decent looking guy, but he's got great body to go with it, which just is the reason why he's was the world's highest paid male model. But in terms of the Versus series, which is best for the average person walking along the street? What if the average person doesn't actually have a fantastic face? The only place you've got to turn to is the body. And this is, this is why I love fitness so much. Because you see, let's say if you saw a guy with a great looking face, you think, well, I doubt he knows about orthotropics. Maybe it just happened naturally through genetics or just luck. He just did certain lifestyle habits that were passed on through his family, like being from Denmark and chewing that tough bread that they have, the kind of rye bread, that black bread. Maybe it came from that. And now he has a solid jaw and his face grew properly, maxilla moved up, jawline came out and everything looks great. But body, I think it can be genetic, but I'd say 99% of people who have a great body have worked for it. And even if it is genetic, that person has still lived an active lifestyle. So it kind of comes from, and a clean diet too. So it comes from discipline and hard work. And I think that resonates quite a lot with women and other men. So other men, they might see a good looking guy and think to themselves, okay, that's just, it's just a good looking guy, genetics, pretty boy look, is what it is, don't really care. But then they see a guy who's jacked, let's say 16, 17 stone, 220, 230 pounds, just gigantic guy. And even if he's got an ugly face, if he's bald, etc., other guys will be like, he's the man, trying to shake his hand, trying to get to know him, and they'll be like, oh yeah, he's a top man. And I think it's kind of a respect thing. It just comes from size, especially if you're a good guy to go with that. And I think women kind of think the same, is it's like, you can have an ugly face or an average face, but with a great body, it kind of trumps everything. It kind of says, yeah, he's not the best looking, but he ticks all the other boxes. A great body says he's dependable, he's disciplined, he works hard, he's a real man, he's masculine, he can protect, he can serve, whatever it might be, and I think that really, really resonates. Like, do you think The Rock's not a bad looking guy, really not a bad looking guy at all. He's one of the best looking bald men in the world, I'd say. But without his body, do you really think he'd have the career that he's had? Because I don't think he would have got close to it. I think he could be twice as ugly, say half as good looking as he is now, with the body that he's got now, and still have a massively successful career. Maybe just as successful. I don't think it would matter. And when we're comparing the two, between face and body, which one's better, I would say body comes out on top quite a lot more often. There's plenty of good looking guys in the world, and there's plenty of guys. If you're ridiculously good looking and you get a ton of attention, there'll always be somebody better looking, always somebody else. The guy who's in shape, he's just not really competing with anybody else. There's other guys that are in shape, there's guys that are bigger than you, but there's just a limit. It's just like being big is just being big. If a woman's attracted to a guy for his looks, she'll probably find somebody better looking at some point and leave. Whereas if you're a big, strong guy, she's probably going to like you for other qualities that you have beyond just, the face. And I think that's really important. And like I said, anybody can achieve that body. Anybody can achieve an unbelievable body. And in fact, getting in great shape actually puffs your face out. Actually makes it look stronger, makes your neck look bigger. I feel like it gives you more of a manly look rather than like a kind of scrawny little boy neck, a scrawny like little boy jaw and head, and everything's quite small and compact. I don't know why it does this. I think the body maybe just grows in proportion. Maybe it's just the strain of certain lifts, like a deadlift, just straining all these muscles here where you're tensing so much. I don't know, maybe it's all the extra meat that a lot of people eat when they're trying to bulk, the chewing muscles, etc. But it kind of thickens out your head and your face as well. And I think, so my girlfriend was talking about this recently. She said that, have you ever seen like somebody like a Nicki Minaj or a Cardi B, right? And you see them, you might think they're attractive, or you see them as a full package. You see them from head to toe. You think, okay, yeah, quite an attractive person, maybe fake, who knows? Maybe that's your type, maybe it's not. But she said when you cut off the face, when you just look at them from there to there, you realize they're really not that good looking, and the body makes up for it quite a lot. And I think this happens with men all the time. I think if you've got a great body as a man, your face can go up 1 or 2 points. So in terms of this being the Versus series, I think a face on its own is great. And don't get me wrong, you're going to get a ton of women, a ton of attention, etc. But you are going to be labeled a pretty boy. You're going to be labeled kind of young looking, all that stuff. That's what comes with it, right? And I feel like the best looking guys get younger women. I feel like they get the women that are like, I don't know, 18 to 25, maybe even younger, 18 to like 23, 24. I feel like those sort of women are interested in those guys. The guy who is just jacked, like I said, 230 pounds of just pure muscle, could have an average or below average face. Always lands the best looking, mature, sophisticated women that are like 28, 30, 40 years old, whatever. Anything above 25, I believe, that type of guy can get those types of women. And then on top of that, you get the attention from the men, which if you're gay, fantastic, right? But if you're not gay, you're also getting attention from men in a social sense. So, you're the big jacked one in the group and everyone's like, oh, what a great guy, what a great man. You're kind of Mr. Dependable. You're like their manly shoulder to lean on. Do you know what I mean? That I think that's important in terms of like adding up which is best out of the two, face and body, because all of these things matter. Every guy wants to be popular and get women. Nobody just wants to say, oh, I just want women, I don't want any friends, I don't want to be popular, etc. So I think in terms of the Versus series, if we're going to say which is better, face or body for men to have, I guarantee I will go 100% in and say it's body. And the reason being, and this should be music to your ears, is most guys don't have an unbelievable face, but anybody can get a great body. And then it has so many plus points off the back of that. So what an opportunity there, guys, for everybody in terms of self-improvement. Like I said, when these gyms are back open, and I honestly pray there's not 2 or 3 lockdowns off the back of this. You know, I just hope it doesn't get to that point. But if we can all get back in the gyms right now, I think summer technically starts today or tomorrow. But I think when the gyms are fully open in around about July, summer's not quite over, but you've not been able to do it like you would any other year. So what I would do is say, let's all sacrifice this year and let's do July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. We're talking about, 10 months? That's ridiculous. I'm counting that again. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, so 9. We've got like 9 months. Imagine that, guys. We've got like 9 months to get in ridiculous shape. We can just, as soon as, I don't know, we can start now, but as soon as July comes along, we can all get in ridiculous shape. You know, in 9 months, we're all going to be, much better looking overall. I think this is a fantastic opportunity as long as things go our way, as in terms of like the lockdown, etc. But to end the Versus series, I think between face and body, I think body wins every single time.